Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's open forum. Happy New Year to you guys. I hope you had a great holiday season, and it's great to be back with you. January 7th, 2026. We have some new forms to talk about. That's why a lot of you are here, and that's why we're doing this meeting. You should have FloridaRealtors.org about the new forms, but if you did not, let me know afterward, and I'll get it out to you. But that is what we're going to talk about today, because these are very, very important. There are some new requirements, and some of the forms that we have been using have been updated. First thing we're going to talk about, because it's on almost every deal, is the compensation agreement. You guys remember, because I would get lots of calls from you. There's a lot of confusion about whether the seller or the seller's broker was paying the buyer's broker compensation, and you didn't know which form to use or whatever. Now it doesn't matter. You're just going to send this one. So they got rid of the old two forms, and they did this, which I'm going to share with you. Here we go. They did this. So now the buyer's broker will just fill this out. We'll just check one, seller or seller's broker. If they tell you ahead of time, you can go ahead and put, whoever they are right here, ABC Brokerage and seller's broker, or if it's a seller, you can click whatever one, but you don't even have to check one of those. You're going to fill out the property, the buyer's name, obviously the term, and the percentage, either that you've agreed to or that you want to negotiate for here. Okay. That's the same. Then nothing has changed about that. All right. So we have not done anything about dispute, arbitration, all this stuff. I don't really care if you do that, but it's not good for you. That's the reason we've taken it out of our forms. It's just not good for you. What happens is you end up, whatever the commission is, unless this commission is, $15,000, $20,000, it ends up being more trouble than it's worth to go through arbitration. You would rather go through the regular legal system. So there you go. That is the new form. It doesn't matter. There's no seller's form and buyer's form now, and the modifications of those. There's just one form, which is good, but it needs to be, obviously it needs to be done. Do you guys know what kind of deals you do not need a compensation agreement on? What transactions do you not need a compensation on? Under what circumstances? Anybody know? Nobody knows. Cool. It's if you sell your own listing. If you're the only one getting paid, we do not need one of these. Otherwise, we need one of these. Okay. Yes, Stella.
If we put the compensation for the buyer's agent in the additional terms, do we still need this form?
What do you mean? What additional terms of what?
On a contract. Or this
is yes, you absolutely need the form. The form has to go with it no matter what. Yep. And unless you're the only one getting paid.
Okay.
Okay. Also, if it's another FRI agent, technically we don't need it. But you want to protect yourself, even if you are another FRI agent and you're buying. We get at least once a month. You guys run into each other out there in the world and do a deal together, and not even know each other. So we have that. Yes, Tammy.
So you're saying we just fill this form out for whatever compensation we agreed to with our buyer, and it's up to the listing agent to change that or let us know it's different?
No. I'm saying do it the same way you've been doing it. You're going to work it out with them, right?
Okay.
If they're saying
you put it on the contract, and then I negotiate it from the contract, and then I guess you would fill this out then.
If you negotiate it on the contract, yes. But this is just like you've been doing. So typically what's been happening, there's been no typical because it's been the Wild West, right? But let's say I have a listing and you have a deal with your buyer that they're paying you 3%, right? And I'm only offering 2%. My seller absolutely not do 2%. He'll take 50 grand less for the house, but not pay 3%, right? Because that's just his thing. And there's people out there that are crazy like that. So in that case, then you're going to put 2% on here and get the other percent from your buyer. It's the same as always. Nothing has changed, except you don't have to make an extra phone call or text to them to say, is it seller's broker
who's paying it?
Or seller? Yeah, there's just one form now. But here's the glitch. And when Chris and I sat and went over these forms on Monday, this is the problem that we came up with. Seller or seller's broker or authorized associate. You've got to make sure that because we're going to be making sure that the right person has signed here. If the seller signs here, if the seller is one paying, they click the top box of the page 1 for the seller to be paying this, then the seller's got the one got to buy, that's got to sign there. Okay. If they click that seller box right there, then the seller is the one who has to sign down here. And I want to make this clear to you guys also, the broker is not going to sign these for us. You guys can assign, you're an authorized associate if the broker is paying. Okay. And anytime you're on the buyer side, you can sign. That the buyer never signs. This is going to be you. You can always sign as an authorized associate for the seller, but I'm sorry, the seller's broker, but not for the seller. Okay. So if you guys did the seller is paying this, then the seller has to sign here. Okay. They weren't very clear about this. And that's something we want to be clear with you guys about. Obviously, you can't sign for the seller to be paying that. You can sign for the seller's broker to be paying it. Yes, Malvis.
Are you going to strike through the lines for the arbitration, or are we doing that our own?
I don't care if you guys do that or not. You don't have to initial it. We've had a little bit of pushback from that from people who don't understand, other brokers and stuff who don't understand. We don't want you to do arbitration, but that's only for your own good. We don't really care as a brokerage. That's only for your own good. You can strike through it. We can strike through it. We're going to take the ones that we have off of our paperless pipeline and put these on. So yeah, we will eventually do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on this form? Again, the things we really want to highlight is it works the same way it always has. You just don't have to ask them now who's paying it. They'll let you know with this form. It doesn't really matter to you or us anyway. And then you'll get down here. And if you are the listing agent, make sure if you did the seller that the seller signs. If you did because that didn't change. Just like before, the seller had to sign the seller form and the seller's agent could sign the broker's form. Yes, Katie.
I have a listing right now. It's pending. So the buyer agent give me another form. Do I need to tell him to?
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. If this only went into effect Monday, so it's fine.
All right.
Yeah, and you still get paid. Everything's fine. They're trying to this one actually makes sense, and it's actually making it easier for you guys. They don't always make things easier for you guys. A lot of times it's like you'll see in these other forms. It's more covering yourself, but this one is actually just for your convenience to make it easier for you. But I want you to cover yourself and make sure the seller signs the seller's part and you only sign if it's the seller's broker, which is going to be most of the time. Tammy, I'm going to ask you, since I can see your face on here. That's what you get. Have you seen, when you've been doing listing agreements with sellers, have you seen a lot of seller paying, or they mostly just do seller's broker?
Usually seller's broker.
Like the old days. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a question and I just forgot about it. It was about this. What was I thinking? Anyway, I'll chime in when
anytime. Anytime you think about it, bring it back.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. So what circumstance would this go to arbitration? Because you've agreed to a commission and
if they don't want to pay. If they don't want to pay, if the seller doesn't pay, if you're the buyer's agent and the seller doesn't want to pay you commission, they fight it on the HUD. You can't stop the deal, but you can go after the commission afterward.
Do you have much of that happen?
It hasn't. I've never seen it happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Okay.
But I mean, things happen. I'm sure it has happened. That's why they have it on there, I guess.
Yeah.
And we're about to see some stuff as we go further about some really weird changes they made to stuff. Okay. This is the modification to that. In case they amend it somehow, let's say they send you one that's 2%, then you negotiate in the contract to 3%, then you would do a modification. Okay. Or a whole new one. Doesn't matter to me which one you do, but it might be a modification, which is fine. All that does, it asks you what you want to change. Show it to you real quick. It's just like a modification to a listing agreement. It just lets you change one thing at a time or two things, how many other things you want to change at a time. And you just click here, here, typically it's going to be changing the commission. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see, you can't see my cursor going around, but that's what I'm doing. Okay, let's go back, because then we get into some of the crazy stuff. Not crazy stuff, but just different ones. And there's some new required forms for condos, etc. That new form is required. Exclusive brokerage listing agreement, we don't use that, but I'm going to go over this anyway because I want to show you something. You shouldn't be using this. It's not that much different than exclusive right of sale, but it's different. But I want to show you the commission part's the same, and I want to talk to you about something that Chris and I went over the other day, and that is compensation. Okay. Please make sure you're muted. And so paragraph 10, 8 through 10, actually, let's go up to 8. 8. Just like the old days, like as part of the reason I just asked Tammy, let's stick with 5 or 6, as much as we possibly can, 5 or 6% here, whatever you're getting. I don't care what percentage you're getting, but the total compensation here, and then coming down here and doing A, okay? Which is the old 6 and 3 or 5, 2.5, whatever it is. Whatever you negotiate with your seller, that's what you want to put here. Do not, there's almost no reason, I talked to you guys about this before when we went over the listing agreement, there's almost no reason to ever use B, 10B. Seller authorizes broker to offer compensation. If they already know how much they're going to offer, then it ought to be through the broker. Okay, and it can always be changed later. You don't have to go back. If the seller negotiates a higher commission with the buyer, you don't have to go back and change your listing agreement or modify your listing agreement. That's a question I get a lot too. No, you can just do it on the compensation form. Because this happens all the time. It used to happen all the time too, right? 6 and 3, and then we'd both give back, 0.5% to make the deal work or something like that. We didn't go modify the listing agreement. There's no reason for that. So, but 10B has almost no, I'd rather you do no compensation and then negotiate it later. So if your seller says, I'll pay you 3%, Tammy, but I'm not, I want to negotiate what comes in on an offer. Well, then we're not going to offer a set amount anyway. So there's almost no reason to use B. He's never going to say, I want to pay you 3%. I want to pay them 2%. No matter what, that's all I'm going to pay them, whatever. If that's the case, then do 5 and do 3 and 2. Okay. So that's almost never a reason to use 10B. It only muddies things up. I'd rather you use 10A or 10C, even if it says no compensation. You can tell them we're not going to offer anything, and they can negotiate something on a submitted contract. So you can base it on the offer. Right? Because they're going to ask you for commission no matter what. And that's it. Also, this covers you better if you get both sides of the deal. You sell it off the sign or something, and you have a 5 or a 6 up here, then you get all of that. If you have 3 here and 2 down there, or 3 here and 3 down there, and 10 like 10B, then you wouldn't get anything because that's for the buyer's agent, right? And so you'd have to go back to your seller and say, hey, I'm the buyer's agent too. You're paying me 3% also. It's a little bit less comfortable of a conversation. And you can always still do the adjustable compensation where you do, you put 6 here and 3 down there, and then you write on the additional terms. If I get both sides, and be sure the agent, not the broker, if the agent gets both sides, the agent will do it for 4% or whatever. You can always do that. Doesn't matter to me. All right. Any questions on that? Yes, Tammy.
Why would we use this form and not the other?
You wouldn't use this form. I'm just going over the compensation part.
But what's the purpose of it? Why'd they create it?
Well, this is a listing agreement.
But we have a different.
No. You're going to use the other listing agreement, but this part of it's exactly the same. I'm just using this form, but it's exactly the same as your exclusive right of sale. I don't mean to muddy the waters, but I'm just using this form because they happened to send me one. But they made changes to this that were already on the exclusive right of sale. They didn't change the exclusive right of sale. But I'm just going over the compensation. That's all, which is identical to the exclusive right of sale. Okay. So it's the same numbers, everything, 8 and 10. It's the same paragraph, is the exact same writing. That's why I'm using this form, just because it was up. Okay. So that's it. They did not change the exclusive right of sale. I'm not going over changes. I'm going over what we went over before. I'm just telling you not to use 10B, please. It's for your own good. All right, let's go back over and get some different forms. There's a limited service listing agreement. On all the listing agreement stuff, they did the same thing. I'm going to show you, they redlined it. They did 2 changes to these. No, just 1 change. So 1 change to these I'm going to show you here. This is a limited service listing agreement. It's a little bit smaller than the rest because we don't have a lot of broker duties and stuff like that. But all of them added this to the MLS paragraph. The seller and broker agree to adhere to each local MLS's policies and further agree to execute any applicable forms as necessary. So, and that covers a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about today, but those are the changes. You see that red line change right there at the bottom of paragraph 4. Blow it up bigger. Now it's off the screen. It's coming on the screen now. The seller and broker agree to adhere to each local MLS's policies and further agree to execute any applicable forms as necessary. That's just saying that both of you agree. If something comes up when you do a new disclosure, anything for the MLS, including taking it off market, the ones where they take it off the MLS, et cetera, those need to be that everybody's agreeing to cooperate on that. And that's all the new ones say. I'm not going to go too much into that, but they'll all be. So anything you pull from Form Simplicity or Transaction Desk now will be these new forms. You really don't need to worry about it much. Just don't, if you're saving old forms somewhere, get rid of them and get these new ones. Okay. If you're just using Transaction Desk or Form Simplicity, these were already changed on Monday. You never noticed. Okay. And they won't have the red lines on them. They'll be just new ones. They're just showing with the red lines, the changes they made. Exclusive right to lease, same things on that. Buyer brokerage agreement. All of these they did. Oh, you can't see my screen. Let me show you my screen. Sorry. I'm not sharing at all. Show you. All right. So buyer brokerage agreement. All of them they changed. The no brokerage relationship, single agent transaction broker, and consent to change to transaction broker. Please use the transaction broker. I tell you guys this for listing agreements. I tell you the same for buyer agreements. You guys run into each other out there. You might sell them your own listing, etc. And having that conversation about transitioning to transaction broker is not one that you want to have with people very often if you can help it. They do not feel warm and fuzzy about you when you tell them, yes, I was more fiduciary and now I'm less fiduciary. I'm representing everybody. And my duty is to be honest and fair with everybody, etc. There's a way to say it that sounds great, but it's not as great as just already having to not have that conversation. So I prefer, you are assumed to be a transaction broker. I prefer you use the forms for the transaction broker. So it's the TB right here, the 8TB, and it says transaction broker on it. Again, these have already been changed, but here's what they changed. Share with you my screen. Look at what they changed. Here we go. You're acknowledging that property owners may have audio recording and video surveillance equipment on property to be viewed. Consumer will exercise caution while viewing such properties. These are the ones that you tell them, hey guys, they've got a camera here, they've got a ring. So don't sit out here and be, oh my gosh, this house is a dump, and don't be out there, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful house I've ever seen. I'm going to pay whatever they want for it. Don't talk about their stuff. Don't say anything, off color or say anything, giving away negotiation stuff, anything at all. Or we can never afford this house. Don't say anything, let them say anything like that. You guys have been warning them that for years. I assume there was some sort of lawsuit or something is why they're making that part of the agreement now. I'm sure a buyer sued a seller for spying on them with their cameras, because sellers will also go down to Starbucks while you show the property and watch their cameras while you're looking around their house. They do not trust these people. So make sure that they know that and they don't snoop in people's stuff, etc. And someone got sued for that. And that's what happened. Anything on these forms is typically something that someone got sued for at some point. And there's another change. I want to say maybe not on these. Nope, that's the only change on these. Oh, yes, and you can't check their credit. And this is to help you guys. You guys aren't checking their credit anyway. The lenders do, but it used to say consumer authorizes broker to run a credit check to verify consumer's credit information. Absolutely not. That would make a consumer not want to sign this, thinking that you're going to pull their credit. These forms, you guys have done a great job getting them signed. No real problem so far getting them signed. But that was a point of contention for consumers, was that you're going to wait. I'm giving you authorization to run a credit. I just want to see this house, man. And the lender's going to pull their information anyway. You should get a pre-qual from them anyway, pre-approval anyway. So that was a pointless part, and this is actually to help you that they're taking that out. It's already gone from the new ones. Yes, Anne.
Yes, I sometimes rent the house for my customer, so I send them the link to fill out application. Is that okay?
It's okay if they fill out an application. If they fill out an application for you to run their credit, absolutely, you run their credit. But this is, but they don't need that for a exclusive buyer brokerage agreement.
Okay.
I don't need that. I don't need to pull their credit to show them houses. I want them to have a pre-approval. That's my job to get that before we do it. And you're having them sign a form that authorizes you to do that. That's somebody who wants their credit pulled because they want something.
Okay.
But this is just to show a house. I had to get that. That's ridiculous, right? You
Got it.
let the lender do it anyway. You guys aren't pulling people's credit. The whole thing is silly. But yeah, absolutely. You could definitely pull their credit. Somebody wants you to pull their credit, you can pull their credit. But they sign a form that authorizes you to do that. That way they can't. The reason they sign it is so they can't come back later and say, "Oh, you pulled my credit. I didn't give you authorization for that."
No, I just send them the link. They do that themselves.
Right. Well, they do it themselves, and they're putting their stuff in there to get their credit pulled. So yeah, absolutely. That shows that they're in it, right?
Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't get scared about that. I'm just saying they took it off that form, so a regular consumer doesn't say, "Oh my gosh, Anne's going to pull my credit just to see a house," right? But my lender already pulled my credit. Anne told me I needed a pre-approval. She's going to pull my credit too. That kind of thing. That's not that should never have been on there to start with. Guys, these are written by the Florida Association of Realtors and the Florida Bar. These are not written by people actually out there doing stuff. This is written by executives and lawyers. This isn't written by agents. So when they get enough complaints about certain things, they take them out. Or if there's some kind of legal action, they will make changes to the form to cover that, to cut down on lawsuits. Okay. Showing agreement, the same thing. The form updates removes language about broker running credit checks. Form is option with deposit is made. So the contract to lease, now that is a contract to lease, and they give the only thing you do is they say that your deposit is not due right now, it's due within 3 days. You can see it right here. Oh, you can't see it because I got to share it with you. But you can see it right here on this tab on very beginning under number 2, deposit. Will pay within 3 days. It just give them another option to put it's paid right now or it's paid within 3 days. It used to be it had to be paid right then. It's just giving the tenant more options about when to make the deposit. Because that runs people off too. Wait, I got to make a deposit before we even have a lease signed. It's obviously not ideal. Okay. Okay, the vacant land contract changed. They made everything calendar days, which is ideal. Oh, did I stop sharing? I stopped sharing again. Sorry. Should pop up. All right. They made it calendar days. There was issues with different things. Some were calendar days, some were business days. Let me see where they actually put that in there. Could be near the end. Yeah, here it is. Computation of time, calendar days, based on where the property is located, will be used when computing time. And then they got rid of all this stuff that was creating confusion. That's why they get rid of stuff too. On a day a national legal holiday is observed, shall extend to the next calendar day, which is not a Saturday, Sunday legal holiday or a day in which national legal holiday is observed. So it just changed the dates and stuff on this, just to avoid confusion. Let's go back to this. Any questions on any of these, just let me know. Okay, condominiums. And this is where these last ones, the two, the Miami one doesn't apply to most of you, but the last two are about condo docs. So they have, just for the turnover inspection reports and stuff like that, the new condo laws, they've turned that in. They've turned this into a new thing. This is required for condo sales. Even if they're over, if they're 1 story, 2 stories, but they're condos legally, this is required. You just, if it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply. Okay. Some of these things don't apply. They're asking for the structural integrity reports. Some of them do not reply or do not apply. Turnover inspection report. Here's a change. Buyer acknowledges receipt of the architect and engineer prepared report performed on or after July 1st, 2023, or a statement that the association has completed that report. If it doesn't apply, doesn't apply. Okay. That's one, and that is required, just like the flood thing is required now. We have more required forms than we've ever had.
Do you want to share that with us, what you're looking at? Or
Yes,
no?
it's what it's called. It's called the RCD8. This one right here.
Is that a new form?
Yeah, it's a new form, brand new form. It's a new form. It's newly required form for condos. Okay, it's been around. They changed it, but now it's required, and the milestone inspection report as well, which is this one. Disclosure. Form now includes space to include information about the association and a notice for sellers to fill out this disclosure. Notice the licensee and parties. Only the seller should fill out this form. This disclosure is not a contract, not intended to be part of any contract, sale, or purchase. We just have to have it in our file. All right. So it will be on your checklist for condominiums, which we're going to have to make a new checklist just for condos.
So is that different than the condominium rider then?
Yes.
So you're going to need the condominium rider and these 2 other forms.
Yes. I will let you know. We have this in front of our attorneys. I'll let you know if there's any change to that, if it's one form or the other, but they say different things. So I'm sure that it is both of them.
So I'm going under contract today on it's 1 condo, but it's 3 floors. So I'm going to need these 2 other documents.
Yes. And then they can waive it, et cetera, but it has to be, is phase 2 of it required? Yes or no? So these you have to, it's going to be more of a pain. You've got to talk to the HOA about this, or the COA. Typically management company. Any questions on that? I'm sure you will have lots of questions on it, but see what the management company says. Just get them to do this. But it says it's filled out by the seller, but you're going to do this. Are you a buyer or seller?
I'm the buyer's agent, but the agent put in, I mean, all of this stuff is in there. The milestone inspection is part of the, they've already done all of that. So it's pretty thorough.
And like the flood thing, this is something that, well, no, this one gets signatures. The other one just says that you sent it and you have to prove you sent it. Hold on 1 second, I'll show you. This one. I have a hard time with this. Sorry. See, the buyer signs it and you just send it to the seller. That's not the form. So the buyer signs this one. Seller does not sign it. All right, but that's just saying that they received it. That just covers us, that they received this form in case, you know, something happens to the place. It covers you, covers us, and it's required. All right. Too many lawsuits on this. Is this for all listing or for all the new listings? Yeah, you don't have to go back, Wendy. You don't have to change anything you've already done. This just came into effect Monday. If you pulled a listing form Monday, then you're using the right one. but the exclusive right of sale didn't change. Only the exclusive brokerage one, which you don't use anyway. You use the exclusive right of sale transaction broker listing agreement. That's the best one. Covers you the best. Best one, covers everybody the best. Any other questions? You guys have any questions on anything that's not this? What else can we discuss today? Yes, Juliana.
I just have a quick question in regards to these videos, these meetings. I know they are uploaded to the YouTube channel, but
Yes.
the ones that I always find are 2-3 years old. I can't find the recent ones.
We were forced to change YouTube channels 2 or 3 years ago. So we have a new, probably after you joined. What I can do for you is, if Jeanette or Antonio would share that, I'm going to try to find it. I'll try to find it and post a link in here right now.
Yeah.
It's in our, and if you joined FRI in the last couple of years, it was on your welcome email, the good one.
It also comes through on the Facebook page, right? When they post
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the Facebook page too. But I'll just put the link in here right now, and you can bookmark it in your.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you.
This
Hey,
work.
question, Ryan.
Yes.
So I don't have access to MLS. I'm just licensed, right? So I get all my forms from the website, the RFI website. Is all the form there up to date?
On our FRI website,
Yeah.
it is up to date, except for not for the ones that just came out Monday. We just got these Monday morning, so we haven't updated the buyer brokerage agreement or the compensation forms yet.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, but we will. But the rest of them are, if you need a form for right now, just let us know. We're going to update a lot of these from that we pulled off of Transaction Desk, 6 months ago or whenever we pulled them off. So we've got to update a bunch of forms. So if you need something, as is or whatever is updated on there, but the other stuff, if you need something else, let us know. Do all these changes apply to commercial deals? There were a couple that apply to commercial deals, Eric. What was it? The commercial, there was changes to the commercial listing form, but not really, and it wasn't really significant. It was the exclusive right of sale listing agreement commercial. I'll show you real quick. They didn't change much. Let me share that with you. All right, go down here. Here we go. Seller and broker agree to adhere to MLS policies, and that is it on this form. So yeah, just the thing where they agree to those policies. If you didn't use the updated form on this, it's not the end of the world. So there you go. And some of them don't even go in the MLS. So any other questions about anything? What's going on at FRI? What's going on with you guys? What's going on with the market? How's everybody feeling? You guys optimistic about the market this year?
I am.
You are, Melvis?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Have you seen it? What makes you feel that way?
Activity. People are already reaching out.
Awesome. Awesome. We did get some, there has been a lot of enthusiasm about, or say optimism about rates getting better. There has been, inflation's down. There's lots of optimism about rates getting better, even though the guy did not say good things after he lowered them again. But he's not going to be around for very long anyway. I think his term runs out soon. So February, I think it is. And so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think there's optimism about rates. Lots of rates are under 6 right now. And I think the 30-year conventional is just over 6, but that's a national average. If you get one of our lenders in here, they'll tell you that they're doing people in the 5s pretty regularly. So things are going well, I think, in that regard. So we'll see how this market goes. There's still, we still have high taxes, and we still have high insurance, and so we're working on those things. We're working against those things, but I think the market is going to pick up a little bit. Not the boom that we hope for, but I think it's going to pick up a little bit. And I don't know the prices are going to go up, but I think that the transactions are going to go up, which is what we all want, of course, professionally. What about you, Tammy? What do you think? What are you seeing?
I need to move my face to the other page. Yeah, I'm hoping it picks up. I had somebody reach out to me too, but it's been pretty quiet.
Okay. Yeah, it has been. It's been quiet. I mean, there's no escaping that. Yes, Daryl.
Tammy, what was that 3-story condo? That sounds interesting. Is that a townhouse?
It's on Michigan, in Soto, and they're 3-story brownstones.
Yeah.
I thought they were townhomes, but they're classified as condos. So it's an individual or condo, but they're 3 stories high.
Barry Miller and his company bought or constructed those back in the day.
Oh, he did?
Like 15 or 20 years ago, something like that. Yeah, I had some open houses there. They are cool.
Yeah.
They're big, and you walk up the stairway and they're huge.
Yeah. And this one has the rooftop, area that you can sit out in.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How much is a condo there, Tammy?
It's $459. And
Okay.
the HOA is $322.
Oh, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other questions?
I do, Ryan, actually.
Yes.
So I'm going on a listing appointment this coming weekend for a previous client. Last time she bought a home, it was not with me. It was somebody else. They went through, divorce, and I think there was a little bit of shame, so she didn't call me back or whatever the reason was. Anyway, she did call me this time and told me that she wanted to sell. When I asked her the questions about, and saw how much she bought it for, she paid about $317. She still owes $274. And when I was looking at the comps, there's actually 2 townhomes in her same subdivision, same street. One listed for $299 and the other one listed for $269, which is pending. And that subdivision has townhomes and single-family homes. Single-family homes are selling for more. So my question is, she still owes $274 for that home. So she is actually going to be losing money for whatever amount she put in for down payment and closing costs, whatever cash to close she had to bring in. She's already getting negative on that. But can I use comparables in her neighborhood for single families if we are a townhome, or just use the townhomes?
No, just use townhomes. I mean, you can use whatever you want and give whatever CM you want, but it's only going to sell for what it's going to sell for. And it's going to sell for based on what the townhomes are. That's what it's going to appraise for, et cetera. No appraiser would use the single family homes. It's a completely different product.
Okay, that's what I wanted to double check on. And specifically the 2 that are, the one that's pending and the one that's active actually is what's going to kill her, because the prices that they're active for or pending for, that's how much she owes for the house anyways.
Right, I understand that. What I would do though, if I were you, I would call the listing agent and I would see, they might not give you exact amounts, but I would see what that 269 is under contract for.
Okay.
If they'll tell you, I would say, if somebody asked me, I would say, I'm not going to tell you exactly, but it's more than 269, or it's, we lowered it and we got it got the desire of a couple of offers and we sold it for, a little bit more than 269 or whatever I would say, or I might say significantly more, or no, we got right at, we got asking price. I would probably tell you pretty close to what we got.
Because I was thinking to possibly suggest a pricing of, 305 or 310, knowing that people are going to come down to offering probably 300 or 280.
They're not going to offer that as long as there's cheaper ones out there.
Correct. Correct.
And it's all those are they're all the same exact unit,
Yes, they are, Ryan. That's the thing.
same condition.
Same condition. All, they're 2 years old, and she's not in a good position, from what I can see in the MLS anyway.
Yeah, and so we talked about rates and stuff, and about how that's going to help the market, and I believe it is. But what we didn't talk about is things that are bothering me, like AI and stuff like that, which are going to cost jobs, and they are going to leave some people where they have to sell their houses. In some cases, that's going to be okay because they bought before the boom of 2020, 2021, 2022. If they bought before that, they're going to be fine. They'll sell and have some money put in their pocket. But if they bought in 2023, 2024, and they've got to sell now, they're going to be hurting. And that's kind of her situation, it sounds like.
That is, yes, it sure is. So I don't really know. I was almost thinking maybe do like if she's been in there for 2 years, technically she can rent it out if at least the rents justify her mortgage payment. At least she can move out and have some. I don't know.
Where is she going to move to, though? That's the thing with people. She's not going to find a much cheaper place than that to live in, probably. I mean, her mortgage is, if she bought it a couple of years ago, she probably got a decent rate. And her mortgage payment's probably in the 2,000 range. And so she might be better off staying. I mean, I don't know where she's going to rent for that. I mean, depending on what she wants. I don't know her situation. But
Yeah.
Go over that with her. Of course, you want to sell the property for her so you can make a living, but you also want to do what's right for her. And
Correct.
And if renting it out's the way to go, then renting it out's the way to go. If she's got somewhere else to live as well, if she's going to go move in with family or something, that's great. Rent it out or sell it. But I'm optimistic about that. I don't think it's going to get crushed to where I think it'll be better a year from now than it is now. But I would have said that a year ago too. So I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, Chad.
I've been actively recruiting loan officers to my brokerage. So I've been on a lot more kind of broker groups online. There's kind of a debate going on right now whether or not agents like having loan officers at their open houses for people. So I was curious, people here, do you like having a loan officer at your open house to answer questions on your property?
If anybody wants to answer that, they can. I will tell you a resounding yes, especially if they're bringing something to the party. If they're bringing the donuts and bringing stuff or whatever. But yeah, being able to answer questions is great.
And helping you put out signs.
Yeah, if they're going to participate.
I hate that part of open houses. That's my worst thing.
Depends on how full they are whenever they come.
Yeah, and how hot it is outside. But and most parts of the country, they'd be saying how cold it is outside. But yeah, I think it's great to have a loan officer there. I think it's great to co-market and do all that stuff. There's no guarantees for the loan officer or the agent hosting the open house, but
right.
But both of them pick up leads that way. I mean, it's the same idea for the loan officer as it is for the agent.
Right.
The chances of selling that house that day aren't that great, but the chances of getting leads is really good.
I agree. I like doing co-branded material for open houses like that. So it's not just funny. They have weird debates that go on in different groups.
Right. Chad, if you're giving out, and this is something that I always talk to you guys about as your team, and if you're co-branding with somebody, get somebody on your team that doesn't have to be a world beater. If you're just getting started, you can get somebody who's just getting started too, and share leads back and forth. I mean, you get somebody, the people on your team ought to be giving you something back too. So yeah, co-brand, do all that stuff. You guys worry about the cost of marketing materials and stuff. We'll split it with somebody. And sometimes they'll pay for all of it if you go do the open house without them or whatever, and it's good to co-brand. And it's good to get something from the people that you're giving business to, title companies, lenders, etc. And I'm sure lenders feel the same way. If they're giving you leads, they want leads back. They want your buyers too.
Well, especially from an educational standpoint, it's always easier, I know, for a loan officer if they're able to give the realtor something to educate people before they even call them.
Right.
on there.
Keeps you from wasting time if everybody knows what they're looking for and the hoops they have to jump through beforehand.
Exactly. Thanks for
Awesome. Thanks, Chad. Michelle.
The exclusive right of sale listing agreement, that's the one that's being changed as of Monday?
It already was changed. Everything that's being changed was. No, the exclusive right of sale is not on this list.
Amen.
Only for commercial.
Okay.
The regular one is not on this list.
All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yes. Tammy.
My computer froze when Melvis was talking, but did you mention, is a short sale an option for her with that seller?
Malvis can answer that. We didn't mention it.
Okay. I didn't know she thought of it.
I actually, excuse me, I actually thought about it, Tammy. I don't know what she wants to do. She wants to ruin her credit for the next 3 years, or if she wants to just pay her dad, because I did some numbers, and in order for her to pay commission, closing costs, and whatnot, she'll have to sell for a certain amount that's obviously higher for the ones that are pending in there anyway. But yeah, I did thought about that. I honestly don't know how to go about that, Ryan. How would that process work if she would be willing to do so?
Let me know what the numbers are on it, and I'll tell you if it's worthwhile or not. Because at some point she's going to come to a thing. She's lost her, let's say, 50 grand from between difference between 317 and what she's going to walk with, or not walk. She's not going to walk with anything. Probably it's going to all go to the bank. But she's already lost that money. That money's gone. She can't get anything from a short sale anyway. She probably can't get anything from a regular sale, but it will mess up her credit, like you said, for years. And so if it only costs her, if she only has to come out of pocket, so that's when you're making that decision. What is my credit worth for the next 3, 4, 5 years? And if I only have to come out of pocket $8,000, is it worth it if I have the ability to do that? And is it worth it to save my credit for the next year? I think it probably is, depending on what she's going to be buying or whatever. But buying a new car or even renting something or doing whatever, your credit score is going to be lower. You're going to not be able to buy anything for a while, a house.
Yes.
And your interest rates on cars or anything else you buy is going to be higher. So is it worth $5 grand or not have to go through it all too? $5 grand or $8 grand or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe so. But the process is easy. You do a short sale addendum with your listing agreement. If you have any questions, let me know. But you do a short sale addendum with it. You get to a short sale negotiator, and we have one we work with. It's an agent of ours, actually. She's a great negotiator. She's been doing it for many, many years, and they handle it with the bank. You put it on as a short sale. You put it at a low price. You get tons of offers. You send that to the bank. The bank comes back and negotiate. Now, so the seller's out. Seller just signs whatever you put in front of them. They don't care. The bank negotiates the price and everything else. So you put it on for $250, right? The bank comes back and says, we'll take $280 for it. We think that's the least it's worth. And so the buyer, whoever that was trying to steal it for $250. Maybe they walk, maybe they agree to $280. But if they walk, which typically happens because it's usually some investor or something, if they walk, then you put bank approved price. That's the first thing you put you put short sale, bank approved price. You put that in the public remarks, realtor remarks, etc. Meaning the bank's already agreed to this price, so you're not wasting your time by making an offer. And that tells me if I actually want that place and to pay a reasonable amount for it, market value, then I will pay the $280. I'll put it under contract for $280, knowing that the bank, they do have to review it and approve it, but they're going to approve it because it's the price they want. And so then it closes. The seller cannot walk with one dime. They can't rent it back from the buyer. They can't have their best friend buy it. None of that shenanigans. They watch all that stuff for fraud. That is fraud. And so the seller has to leave empty-handed and get out of there. And the bank gets that money and there's no foreclosure, et cetera. It's a little bit better for the seller's credit, allows the seller to buy again faster than just ignoring the bank and waiting to get foreclosed for 9 months and staying there for free and then getting foreclosed, which of course destroys the credit. So
tell me if I did this right, Ryan, or anybody else that have done it before. So what I did last night is I took the number that she owes for that property, which is roughly about 275. Then I added 5% on commission, which came, plus the 350, and it came out to 289, 100. Of course, I don't have title company's fees in there yet, but I thought for her to even break even, she would have to sell for 300 at least for 299, which would include the 5% commission, would include the transaction fee and the title company fees. If we are able to sell for 300, she would just have to say goodbye to all the money that she put in on down payment and closing costs and call it a loss. But she won't hurt her credit. But at least she'll get rid of what she still owes and wouldn't mess up her credit. That's what I was thinking.
Right. I think that's reasonable. It's very reasonable. Her doc stamps are going to be $2,000. Her title insurance is going to be $1,800, and all that stuff. So what it comes down to is she owes $275. If she can get enough to make it make sense, then she does. If not,
yeah, I calculated. I think I calculated, like, on top of the 275, I calculated the 5% commission, the 350, the transaction fee, and I added $7,000 in closing costs, which I think is not going to be that much for her. But I just put, right, I'd rather go higher, and the number came down that she would probably get 10,000, meaning because she showed me partially her closing disclosures, and she had a cash to close of 32,000. So
yeah, so she's out that regardless, unless she wants to keep this thing and rent it. I mean, but
exactly
her situation. If she can do it, she can. If not, not. So let's say we can only sell it for 290, but you can't put it on the market and just say, well, let's hope for the best, and
correct,
her not have 10 or 15 grand in case she needs it. And I think right now that property might sell for 290, which means she'd have to bring 10 or 15 grand probably.
Correct.
So that's what she needs to know. And so this listing appointment that you have, I'm going to put that in quotes. It might just be a consultation where you tell her
correct.
And
yes, and
they're all consultations where you give people their options. But I think realistically, she needs to either consider short sale or consider renting it, or she may say 15 grand, no problem. I'd love to be out of here. I don't care. Right.
Or stay in it, just stay in it and for another year or two.
Yeah, and she can just stay in it. That's probably the best thing. Leaving there and renting and having to get the moving expenses and do everything else, she's probably going to be better off just staying there. Now, if she says, I just can't pay for it anymore, then I guess short sale's the way to go. But because otherwise you could be wasting time if you put it on for 310 and she has to have 300 to make her all of her fees. Of course, first thing I would do when I get off this meeting is get her a net sheet.
Yeah, I sent an email to the title company last night to get me like 3 different scenarios so I can bring those better numbers than my numbers.
Yeah, like a 280, 290, and 300.
Yes, I did that. Yes, sir.
Perfect. You're ahead of the game. You're doing exactly what you should.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Good luck.
I think you need to realistically let her know that it's kind of unlikely she's going to get 300 with the other prices
or less
market. Yeah.
Or I was even thinking
you don't want to give her false hope.
No,
probably 280. Yeah.
That's why I asked the title company to run me numbers for 280. Because I know that the home that's pending for 269 is probably selling for less. I will see what I can get from the listing agent, but I always like to get the worst case, because if anything better than the worst case works out, that's their benefit. But I always like to go lower.
Yeah, absolutely. Give them a realistic scenario. Well, good luck with that. Let me know.
Thank you.
Any other questions you guys have? Comments? Anything like that? You guys have been great today. I appreciate you all coming. Happy New Year to everybody. We're going to go get them in 2026. So I'm excited for you guys. Let me know if there's anything you need. If you guys, I saw Chad, somebody else wanted the email from Florida Realtors. I will send that to you now. Otherwise, you should be able to find it. If you really want to see these, I mean, all the forms have been changed in Form Simplicity. You really don't have to worry about it, but it's all there for you. Okay. Thank you, everybody. You'll be hearing from Jeanette if you don't turn in all your condo forms and all that stuff like you're supposed to and use the new compensation form. I don't think that new compensation form will be a problem. If you are still doing deals and they send you the old compensation form, that's fine. It's not required. We don't care for now that you're using the old compensation forms, cover everything. That new form is just for your convenience, and you'll start seeing it on all the deals going forward because that's the one that people are pulling it now. You know, some people may have them, if they've had this listing for a while, they probably already have the other compensation form drawn up or whatever, but otherwise just use this one. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll see you next week.
Thank
Bye.
you.